This episode of the Female Dating Strategy Podcast has been brought to you by Podcorn.com. We've used it to connect with other female-led podcasts, some of which you may have heard advertised on our show.
We primarily use Podcorn to find our advertisers. It's a great matchmaking service between advertisers and podcast creators.
And with Podcorn, there isn't a middleman. And this means that we've been able to work alongside other brands and seek out opportunities that best fit with us.
Podcorn is a marketplace connecting podcasters to amazing podcast sponsorship opportunities, such as host-read ads, interview segments, topical discussions, and more.
If you are looking for a platform that will give you full creative control, as well as give you access to a marketplace that can connect you with other like-minded podcasters and brands, then sign up to Podcorn and start browsing sponsorship opportunities.
Explore sponsorship opportunities and start monetizing your podcast by signing up at podcorn.com/podcasters. That's podcorn.com/podcasters. Check the link in the show notes. Hey Queens, are you ready to level up? Then join our Patreon at patreon.com/the female dating strategy, where you can find weekly bonus content and FDS commentary on all the latest pop culture, relationship, and dating news. If you just want to listen to the extra bonus content, we have the Lurker Mode tier on our Patreon. If you want merchandise, access to the private FDS Patreon Discord, which also includes a monthly book club with FDS and feminist-themed books, as well as FDS merchandise, t-shirts, mugs, and the opportunity to discuss topics with the FDS podcast queens live, as well as submit stories for our Roast to Scrote Queen and Gnosis discussions on the podcast itself. So if you'd like access to all this and more, visit our Patreon at patreon.com/the female dating strategy. What's up, Queens? Welcome to the Female Dating Strategy Podcast, the meanest female-only podcast on the internet. I'm Ro.
I'm Savannah.
And I'm Lila.
So today's episode was inspired by a question we got, the very first question we got on our Scrote Strike Back tier from one of our male Patreon subscribers. So we recently launched the Scrote Strike Back tier, and it was designed to give men the opportunity to ask us dating questions.
Or debate questions.
And to my great disappointment, it's been mostly really nice, tame questions, as well as like a lot of men who just want to support FDS just to support us. And I'm a little bit grossed out because I really wanted to fight.
The bro had her gloves on. She's like, ding, 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 round one. No opponent so far.
Bruh, I thought I was going to be like answering troll questions every week and like roasting the shit out of them. But so far, everyone's been really nice and supportive. And like one guy was like, I don't know if I was supposed to, but I think I might have gotten access to the Discord. And I just wanted to check if that was okay. And I'm like, man, y'all are inbox asking us permission for shit.
That's actually really nice. Yeah, I like that. It's wholesome.
It's really sweet. And we have quite a few male Patreon subscribers on the Lurker Mode as well. So I appreciate all of you guys. I'm just teasing you. But I did think that we would get a lot more contrarian, combative energy here. So I could have my opportunity to flex my roast skill. So
clap back, queen.
If you're a man and you don't like the things that we say and you want to like clap back and debate us, I'm still open to that. But we're going to answer this question from David, who sent us in a question about being friends with a woman he's attracted to. So I don't know who wants to read this one.
I can read it. So, is it possible for a man and a woman to be friends? If very unlikely. I met this woman and was attracted to her, but I learned that she was not single and decided that I was fine with that. I am aware that I am my own enemy in trying to be actual just friends with her. Okay, that's hilarious. And have monitored my reasons and expectations while friendship has developed. She's recently become single, and while I know and understand and don't expect and don't need this to be anything more than a friendship, I would like to ask her, after enough time that I believe I wouldn't be preying on some scroty sense vulnerability, if she would like to explore a relationship with me. Can I hear your thoughts on whether this would always be a scrote move? I would appreciate the opportunity to clarify this word spaghetti if I haven't managed to express myself clearly.
So he has some links to some Reddit posts where a lot of women are complaining about men saying they're their friends, but like secretly it's just a ploy to get them to have sex with them. And women in general not enjoying being sexualized by men they consider to be friends or have presented themselves as friends.
So we're going to dissect that conflict. I don't know, what's the best word to describe this quagmire, this
yeah, it's a nuance it's
a nuanced discussion, I think. Yeah
about like male and female friendships. And I mean, obviously a lot of relationships do start from friendships, and sometimes that's welcomed and sometimes it's not. And so I think that the question is how is it appropriate to go about it? And what are the appropriate boundaries in place?
First of all, yeah, I do think that some of the best relationships actually can start out as friends. It depends on how you go about, depends on your delivery, your execution. Obviously, if they're the sort to, wait until you're like drunk and like alone or something like that, or in a vulnerable situation or like emotionally vulnerable, something like that, I consider that predatory. But I personally don't think there's anything wrong with a man shooting his shot as long as he, a man that you're friends with, shooting his shot. I would rather a man just like ask me on a date and then I can either say yes or no, rather than like him kind of waiting in the wings, waiting for me to be vulnerable, that kind of thing, right? So I'd say it's better to be upfront. And if she says no, just accept that answer, be mature about it. Whether she wants to be friends or not after that is her decision. If you're concerned, oh, can it ruin the relationship? Yeah, it might. So just be aware of that risk going into it.
I'd also add as well, it's important for in response, I guess, in a part response to the question, in order to read the room as well. I've always said that women, we often give off cues if we're into somebody in that way. If she's shown absolutely no interest and you've been friends for years, I think it's unlikely that it's going to be a welcome thing. You have to read the room as well. Like if she's expressed absolutely no interest in dating you, then yeah.
Yeah, there's two missing pieces here. One of them is how they met. Right? Were they work friends? Was it like more of a casual friend of a friend thing that they met? Because, obviously if they met off a dating app or something and then she doesn't pursue the relationship, then yeah, you're out of luck, buddy. Right? Like she's keeping you around as a friend. If it's, if you've been around each other in more of a professional capacity and it's never really crossed the line, then I think it's probably okay to shoot your shot. Obviously, as long as you're not crossing any ethical boundaries between whatever, if you have any type of employment situation, etc. But more than likely, if you're still hanging around, women tend to assume, I would say, maybe I don't know if I should say this, but I think women tend to assume you're into them on some level. If you keep contacting them and you're not like, you don't have a specific reason to be contacting her, right? So, for example, like, are you both into the same things? Like, if it's like, oh, we go see, we're both into Spider-Man or something. So then you have something to talk about. If it's just more like you keep
both of the same hobby or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Same hobby. Like if you're meeting her, like you have the same hobby and you're hanging out, then you have a reason to hang out. If you're a guy that just like keeps touching base with this woman every once in a while, it probably is going to come across to most women that like, oh, he's just fishing to see if we can date. I think some more context would be appropriate here as far as like how you know her and in what venue you know her.
And yeah, the context of your relationship as well. That's also important.
Yeah. So like for me personally, my boyfriend, we met at work, and at the time, like he was going through a divorce and I was in a relationship. And so that was like the situation 3 years ago. And so that's why we were just like friends and didn't pursue anything until we both were single at the same time. And actually, even though we were both single for a while, I still made him wait like another year and a half after that. But it's like the situation, it depends on like also the reason why hasn't it become more than a friendship? Why were you friends? Was it because of the circumstances? So, okay. At the time we did have a bit of a flirtationship, to be honest. Like, so there was like sexual tension or like, even other people, there was one person who straight up said like that they're shipping us. And I was like, I'm in a relationship and like, this is work. I don't date coworkers kind of thing. And was like, no way, never in a million years at the time. And so like, if sometimes the circumstances can change though. So again, like if you've, how do I say this? Like if there's no sexual tension, if there's no chemistry, if like you don't vibe super well with each other, like I'd probably say maybe not. Shoot your shot,
Yeah, like read the room, basically.
Like read the room, yeah. Like kind of like Savannah said, like get a sense if she likes you that way. If you're not getting that vibe, like maybe don't. But it's up to you to weigh the risks and rewards, basically.
Because that's like one of the most annoying things about dealing with men. They just think if you so much as smile in their direction or send them a nice word that you want to fuck them. And it's really annoying and disconcerting when that's just not the case. Women, even though FTS women, we don't like to do the pursuing because we shouldn't. Women also give off tells. Like unconscious, like body language is also a thing that you can read if somebody is into you or if they want to talk to you or if they want to be around you. That's what it's also possible to read.
Yeah, I think that the biggest thing is not to push. So the idea is like invite her to want to pursue a relationship with her, but don't be that like pushy weirdo.
Yeah.
I think that's a huge difference in how you approach the situation. That's going to determine, well, it might not be the singular factor, but it's going to be determine whether or not you come across like a disgusting scrote that we're going to roast on FTS. And if you're a guy who has interest in a woman and just wants to let her know that like you'd like to pursue something romantic further, because I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I don't think there's even wrong with like keeping in touch with someone you maybe hit it off with. And if the timing isn't right,
like respectful courtship is acceptable.
Yeah.
But don't be a creep. Like, I don't know how else to say this,
And don't be offended if she says no or is like weirded out or whatever, because that's another thing as well. When you think a guy's your friend, he asks you out and you say no and he just goes completely nuclear and then just turns into a demon scrote. That's another thing as well.
It's very important to handle rejection with maturity. And if she says no, don't be a dick, don't be whiny. Don't try to emotionally manipulate. Don't even just a huffy kind of like, okay, or like stuff like that. Like,
or you always always date the assholes, not me.
Yeah, bad boys,
And at that point too, I would just bow out gracefully, because if your feelings are like hurt to the point where you can't be friends with her anymore, it's better for you to not be friends with her than to try to like do this pseudo friendship.
I'm gonna say something that is, because a lot of women often say, after I turned my friend down, he didn't want to be friends with me anymore. I actually think it's perfectly valid if he's been turned down and he can't, manage that, or he needs to process that. I think it's fair if he doesn't want to continue the friendship anymore. I know it doesn't make the woman feel great, because it's like, well, you were only around me for one thing, but it's better he does that than for you to, than for him to be bitter or for there to be resentment, or because that's just going to be a bigger headache than if he just goes his own way.
Yeah, like just rip the Band-Aid off. Yeah, don't let it fester.
Because like if in a different alternate universe I asked the guy out and he said no, I probably wouldn't want to be his friend either. I would just go away. To be honest.
Yeah, so be aware going into it that the risk of ruining the friendship is real. That could happen. And then again, it's up to you to decide if you're willing to take that risk.
If you're willing to take the risk. And to be fair, I've actually, because I remember I was really into a guy, he was into me, and it was sort of like an awkward, I like you, you like me, where do we go? But I chose not to pursue a relationship because I knew that it would have an end date and I valued the friendship more. So you have to make that choice.
Yeah, be aware that like if your life circumstances, like one of you is about to move.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
So be aware that if you are in a situation where one of your life situations might change, don't like try to do a last minute, I object. There's a scene in movies where like a woman's about to get...
This ain't the movies. Yeah. This ain't the movies.
This isn't the movies. Like, don't wait for like a romantic last minute gesture where you show up at her wedding and being like, I object.
Running beside the train. Like running beside the train that's going off like, I love you.
Chasing the car in the rain.
Everyone's going to think you're insane.
Yeah, don't show up at the airport running down the tarmac as she's about to fly off to another city,
So the other thing too is maybe check the temperature of where she's at emotionally, because this last line that he put forth was, would I be preying on her in some scroty sense of vulnerability? Like is she emotional? Is she an emotional wreck after the end of this relationship? And the question to me is like, for your sake too, if you're actually really interested in her, you don't necessarily want to be the rebound.
Yeah. Give her time to recover.
Because generally the guys who like that situation are the guys who are just for the sex.
Don't be the pussy scavenger.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Don't be a pussy scavenger.
Don't be a pussy scavenger. They're just the worst.
The pussy scavenger, as Ray said. We need to do a full episode on that. Like, pussy scavengers and their varieties.
I mentioned it some other time on like, I think in the Discord, and then we talked about it again on one of our recent bonus contents. I think the one about the kangaroo.
I love that phrase. Yeah.
Yeah. Pussy scavenger. But pussy scavengers are a real thing. They're guys that like wait till women are in like emotionally vulnerable situations, or they're like, they try to get their friends rebounds and stuff like that. They're just the worst type of guys. They're like pussy vultures.
That's what I mean. seen by like guys who wait in the wings,
circling dead bodies and shit.
It is predatory because it's the same way that like a lion, for example, would wait until the gazelle has a limp.
Is vulnerable.
You know how like alligators, for example, they'll like wait under the cover of water, wait for like some zebras to like walk in, and there's like a group of them and can just like kind of go for you kind of thing. Like, don't fucking act like a literal predator from nature, right? Like, be upfront about it.
Yeah.
Those are the men we resent, especially the guys that are just, they're waiting for the opportunity to stick it in. So like, don't lead with anything sexual. Let me put it that way. Like, especially if she's emotionally devastated over her last relationship or whatever, and you start trying to like, you know, offer her dick.
Yeah. That's gross.
Yeah, it's like buy her a gift, offer her to take her on a date, do something fucking nice, do the nice thing, and then like don't expect anything in return, and like wait a bit.
Yeah, wait a bit. And then it's fine to like, yeah, see if you develop a rapport, right? Like the worst thing about like the red pill and everything is because they're all trying to do like the hard close and the hard sale all the time.
Overcome her last minute resistance.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like if you, again, invite her toward the relationship, and eventually, yes, if you're in a relationship, you want it to be sexual, but the idea is to like start to talk to her like a human being and then see if she pushes that conversation there, right? It should naturally go. When you're dating someone, if you go on a date, it's more than likely that that person, if they're interested in that, you know, it should be like any other date, like the conversation should just flow. And if it's not flowing and you're forcing it, then you're going to come across like a scrote.
Yeah, so ask her about her day. Show interest in her life. Really basic social skills that like, again, some men actually can do these things really well. And
they get laid all the time.
Yeah, and they get laid all the time. So that's the sort of men you want to be like.
That's the thing about the red pill that's so crazy to me. I'm like, the guys who they think are beta, there's so many guys who I know got mad pussy in high school and college who the red pill would consider beta. I think they just didn't know because those guys are like mad quiet about it. They weren't the type of guy that would brag to all their friends about their sexual exploits every weekend. But like, they got fucked a lot. And part of it is because they were discreet.
Yeah, they don't kiss and tell.
Right? And the only reason I would even know is because like some of the women that they mess with like put two and two together, right? Because like otherwise they wouldn't have known about each other.
Yeah, when women compare notes and like that's the thing. You don't want to be the guy that women all talk shit about. And we promote this a lot with FDS is women comparing notes. And once you as a man get a reputation for being a scrote like that, that really, really diminishes your long-term prospects. So you want to get a good reputation with women like that, okay? So again, be nice, like do nice things for women, treat women like people. It's not rocket science, right? But a lot of men can't execute that properly. They don't have that mentality of wanting to, you know, woo her as opposed to trying to like bag her. That's even the phrasing that is used in like pickup artistry communities, like, oh, you know, ask her to do this and this and then bag her like she's a fucking deer and he's like a hunter.
So, to broaden out the question, can men and women be friends, just generally? Over to you, Ro. What do you think?
I think men and women can be friends if one of you is not attracted to the other one at all. And in that case, one of you is more than likely gay, or you're so disparate in type and attraction levels that it would never conflict. So you'd have to be like 100% not each other's type, and or one of you would have to be gay. That's the only time I really see genuine heterosexual relationships working, because of the fact that, let's say you have to both maintain boundaries with each other, but also appropriate boundaries if the other person has a partner. And I've seen so many male-female friendships implode that are supposedly platonic when the other one gets a partner. Because that's when people's suppressed feelings start to come to the surface. And I've seen some real crazy shit go down in supposedly platonic friendships between males and females.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. See, this is what I mean about like running down the aisle at the last minute. Like, I object. It's like, again, like, don't ruin another person's relationship.
I agree. Like, most of my in fact, all of my closest male friends are gay. If a guy's heterosexual, he's moved into acquaintance category because
you give him a demerit.
Yeah, it gets demoted to, because I always know that there is, and you know, the acquaintances in my life, they've always made it known that there could be something more. Do you know what I mean? So I fully agree with that. Like, they're all gay or just not into like sexuality in general, like asexual.
And truthfully, I mean, It's very tough for men to be friends with women unless it's sexualized. And that's the complaint that you often see on FDS, is that literally none of our friends have ever turned out to be men who just genuinely wanted to be friends with us. It was always sexual. And I think it seems like that's more often the case than the reverse, because if women like a guy, it's more likely that men are going to explore that sexual relationship if she offers it.
Because men have fewer options. Yeah, exactly. Generally.
Let's say it's like a woman and she's friends with a man she's pining after. He's probably going to immediately exploit that situation sexually and dead the friendship, versus the other way where women are more likely to want to maintain the friendship first. And then it doesn't go sexual unless the woman actually allows it. So it's just really hard to imagine a scenario where you can maintain that situation long term.
And I think it comes back to what Rose said several months ago about when we were talking about communication between men and women, and what Rose said about men and women speaking different languages. To women, platonic means that there's no sexual intention, attraction, or whatever. But to men, and I've seen them discussing this on things like Reddit or Twitter or any social media space, they see it as, well, I see her as a friend, but if she offers it, I'd take it. To me, that's not... If you would have any sexual or romantic inclination towards somebody, it's not a platonic relationship.
Okay, again, I don't mean to be like devil's advocate here, but I am of the view that like just because a man wants to fuck me or is like romantically attracted to me, I don't see that as like a barrier to us being friends. The key is, as the woman, for me personally, is like, yeah, I'll always keep him at arm's distance. I'd probably still call them a friend, like I'd still hang out with them and do stuff, but like they're sort of mentally always in the acquaintance category, if that makes sense, or like manual labor category or something like that.
Manual labor, like chef.
Here's the thing. This might not be what the male subscriber who submitted this question, this is probably not what he wants to hear. But for me personally, my view is that as long as a man is adding value to my life, even if I'm not like romantically or sexually attracted to him, sometimes they'll just like, yeah, I'll get help moving, because in my city it's freaking expensive and people are constantly getting rent evicted. I have to move pretty much like every year. And so it's really convenient to have someone in my life who will help me move. Or various other like just small things. If I want to delegate undesirable tasks and I feel uncomfortable like asking women to do some of these things. Like I wouldn't want to like exploit another woman's labor, but I am fine with exploiting a man's labor. So yeah, just because a man wants to fuck me, I don't see that's as a reason not to be friends. But like, yeah, be aware that some simps are so toxic that it's better to just like cut them off. If he's like being sexually predatory in any way, some will just like they'll just like pine from afar. That's fine to me. Like, I'll keep them around. But again, that's probably not what the male subscriber wants to hear. But again, like, that's why you as man, you're allowed to be like, oh, I don't want to be in this situation. And to end the friendship, like, you're within your rights to do that. But some men don't do that. And I'm fine with that.
It's just like the problem with heterosexual friendships is like sometimes they're friends for nondescript reasons and it's not always clear, right? Because like with female friendships, we tend to have things that we're genuinely bonding over, right? Even if it's like something we mutually love, something we both like to do, or a mutual distaste for something even. But with male and female friendships,
or I'll just genuinely like her as a person. But if a man's crushing on me and I'm not interested in him, I'm always going to keep him at an arm's length.
But like male-female friendships, like it has to be centered around usually something external, like for it to stay platonic. Because I'm thinking if you like each other, you have to be sexually repulsed by each other on some level for it to work. And that's so because there's some women that are like they have interests that might be more male dominated. So then like they don't really have a choice but to make friends with males. So let's say you're like a gamer or whatever. And then like the vast majority of people you encounter are gamers or you're into cosplay or something. Like, although cosplay is pretty co-ed now, but early on, I think it was a lot of men, right? So Dungeons and Dragons, all that shit. So that's pretty male dominated.
A lot of sports, for example.
Sports, right? Yeah, sports. So I'm also a sports fan. So that's the other thing too, where when it comes to talking about sports, even on Twitter, the vast majority of the time I'm talking to men. I just have an interest where the vast majority of men who are people who are into it are men. So in that case, like if you have a focused friendship on something specific and you don't really like expand it out beyond that, I think you can be friends, but you have to put boundaries around that, right? It's not like I'm hanging out telling him my deepest, darkest secrets about how I feel about life. We're friends in that like, oh, this is the dude I can hit up and we can drag each other over our respective basketball teams, right?
I think it's helpful to think of friendships both for men and women in terms of circles. There's like the inner circle. We even have this with like FDS, I guess, like the mods were like the inner circle. We know all the secrets. We we dish with each other.
We know where the bodies are buried.
And then there's like the outer circle, like more and more kind of thing. And then like, yeah, same thing with my friends. Like I have like maybe 2-3 friends that like, yeah, if I needed to bury a body or whatever, they're the girls I'm going to call kind of thing. Right. And those are always girls. I don't think other than, even though my own boyfriend, I wouldn't put in that inner circle. To be honest, it's always women and my sister.
So my views on this are, can men and women be friends? Yes, in the loose sense of the term, I guess. But I believe that women need to come to accept the fact that 9 times out of 10, your male friend will see you as either a sexual or a romantic opportunity. And you have to decide how you feel about that. If you're like Lilith and you're willing to go with the flow and rinse them, that's up to you. But if you will feel somehow...
If you don't want to do all that work... It is emotional labor, honestly, I will say it is.
Yeah.
And some women that's not worth it for them. And that's totally fine too.
And it's not even... just about it not being worth it. But if you'd feel hurt that your male friend was secretly pining after you after, like a years long friendship, then maybe you need to, I guess, rethink how like close you can get with men. I'm not saying you can't be friendly with them, but it might just be that you keep them at a certain, arm's length or just downgrade them to friendly acquaintance like I do.
That's a really important distinction between friends and friendly. It's almost weird in the English language how it's like the same word, but they have so different meanings. Like,
yeah,
friendly, you could be friendly to a complete stranger.
But they're not your friend, yeah.
Yeah, but they're not your friend, yeah. That's what I mean about keeping men at arm's distance. Like, they won't be in my inner circle, but I'll still be nice to them,
Yeah, you'll still be nice. And this is going to be quite, negative, but here at FDS, if we accept the fact that men are generally raised to be low value, as partners romantically, then are the stats any different if you're looking for a male friend? I personally don't think it is.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Like a truly, truly, truly high value male friend, I think is almost as rare or as unique as a truly high value male romantic partner. Which is why it's odd to me when women who break up with men who treated them like shit are like, we can just be friends. It's like, why would you want to be friends with somebody who treated you badly? That's not the basis of any good friendship.
Okay, that brings up an important point because I would never be friends with an ex. I think we've answered this question before. Was that in one of our first episodes? Like, can men and women can be friends with an ex? No.
Yeah, I've tried it. It doesn't work. It never works.
And we'd just like to take a moment to thank the sponsor of this episode, Davy Piper.
If you're looking for comfortable loungewear and to celebrate women's achievements, then Davy Piper is the one for you.
Davy Piper's story is the story of women. Each of their products is made with premium fabric and has been thoughtfully curated in honor of courageous women who inspire us to be better.
Just like their Diana Classic Sports Bra, which was inspired by Diana, Princess of Wales, who used her platform to help those in need, including those struggling with mental illness and cancer.
Or the Nelly Simply Wireless Bra, inspired by a mother of 8, 6 by birth, and 2 from adoption. Davy Piper has inclusive sizing to accommodate women of all shapes and sizes,
including sizing for women above an E cup. So if you'd like to wrap yourself in supportive, wire-free, super soft, premium fabric bras made from organic cotton, head on over to davypiper.com and enter our promo code FDS to save 20% on your purchase. Save 20% on your purchase when you use the discount code FDS on davypiper.com. Thanks, and back to the show. But I think too about finding a guy who's high value, who's just a friend. And I think a high value man can maintain boundaries with women, which is actually a hallmark of high value men, is that they're able to maintain boundaries with women in different social situations. The good news is, like, let's say he just happens to not being attracted to you. The benefit of maybe being friends with him is that he might have other high value friends that are. So I'm kind of an advocate for you can have platonic relationships with men if you all are both good at maintaining your boundaries and he's truly high value. If he's a pussy scavenging scrote, then like as not, most of his friends are probably somewhere on that spectrum. So then there's just zero benefit to staying friends with a man like that, because as soon as you're vulnerable, he's going to try to have sex with you, and all of his friends are probably shit. But if you find a guy who's like mature enough and can maintain boundaries, then more than likely he has a friend group there, and then you can be mutual friend groups. Maybe you have some, cute girlfriends who are high value, etc., that you guys can hook each other up with. So I'm not anti male and female friendships or think it can't work, but it can really only work with high value men.
True. Yeah, that's the other thing. It's like I would never be like with simps, I'll keep them at like the mid to outer circle. Whereas like actual high value men where maybe I'm just not physically attracted to him or he's just not physically attracted to me. And that's why it's never moved past friendship. Maybe they'll be in like a mid to, closer to the middle type circle, but it can still be worthwhile for like a networking or like even just connect, just having high value people in your connections and so on can be beneficial in the long run. So that's another scenario in which if someone's like valuable to you professionally.
Yes.
That's actually another thing where I probably would want to keep it at a friendship and not go romantic. Cause that can say, if you work in the same industry or something, you don't want to get, you don't want to get messy. Right. So yeah, that's another situation where it can be worth having male friends if like they're well connected and you want those connections, but you don't want to muddy the waters with dating them. Like, even if you're not working for the same company, that's another thing is like, not only will I avoid dating at work, I also generally avoid dating within my industry. I made an exception for my current boyfriend, but generally, like, most of the time I do avoid that because you never know. Like, you could end up working for the same company at some point in the future. If the relationship goes bad, if he's really like the vindictive type, he could try to like ruin your reputation, make it hard for you to get hired at another company and so on. So that's another thing, again, speaking to the female audience, that's another thing to be careful about.
I found as well that people because I worked for an organization where there are a lot of couples, and people just gossip. And especially if you're a woman, you get like the whole, oh, she only got that job because of who she's married to or who she's sleeping with. So it's just better not to mix your relationship with your professional life for that reason. Because unfortunately, women get judged way more harshly for dating somebody in the company than men do. Like, men don't get judged at all for doing that.
There's a term that's been developed for like that, which is called a work husband or a work wife. And I'm always wary of the implications of that because yes, there's been men that I've had like a really good camaraderie with at work, and I don't think it would go beyond that. But then there's other times where I've seen other camaraderies where it's awkward for everybody because it's like, damn, just fuck already. Like,
you're basically fucking at work.
and they might be like, and even if they have significant others or spouses,
or they think they're Pam and Jim from The Office, and it's like for everyone else involved, it's like, God, just like get it over with. Stop being awkward in front of me.
Yeah, it becomes like really awkward, and then you have to deal with if you know their significant other, like if you are the significant other of a person who has a work husband or work wife, like
that sucks.
How do you feel? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, and so you might make your actual significant other feel like irrationally jealous. Or I've seen this also happen where a person attempts to put boundaries in place because they feel like the relationship has gotten a little bit more than platonic work friends, and then the other person freaks out. Because that's just always like the caveat to me, because again, when I've seen both work friendships and like outside work friendships where one of them gets a significant other and the other one goes nuclear, even though they swear up and down it was platonic, they're not attracted to them like that. And it might be that they're not actually attracted to them like that, but the prospect of not having their undivided attention.
Or they feel possessive even if there's nothing going on.
Exactly. They feel massively possessive and have this like antagonistic relationship towards the other person in their life. And this is like kind of happened to me where I was dating a guy who had a girl he'd known forever. And I remember like one time we were in bed together and she called at like 3 a.m. crying because her boyfriend was treating her like shit. And I'm like, why the fuck is she calling you? And he's like, man, sometimes I listen to her because she has like man problems.
That's so weird. No.
Right.
That's a huge boundary violation in my opinion. Yeah. 3 a.m?
3 a.m, like late at night. And like, it was generally that because he had the phone on speaker. So I'm listening to this conversation go down. This girl's like crying about her boyfriend and shit. I'm like, wow. So she's just going to call like in the middle of the night doesn't know what's going on with you. And then I looked at him like, yeah, no, this isn't fine. Right. And he's like, yeah, I've known her forever. So it's just a little bit hard. But yeah, she's always having man problems. So sometimes I just help her out. And I'm like, okay, like, that's nice of you, but like, like, fuck her.
No, if my boyfriend did that, I would straight up be like, you have to set boundaries with this woman. First, actually, no. I would probably go on a snooping or fact-finding mission to see if there's actually something going on between my boyfriend and her. If there is, then I dump him. If there isn't, then I'd be like, you have to set boundaries with this woman. And then if he didn't, then I'd break up with him. That would be how I would react in that situation.
Yeah, exactly. If he failed to set boundaries, that's a red flag. I think in this case, we had just started dating, but it was like, yeah, you got some residual homegirls who, for whatever reason, think you're their emotional dumping ground, and they need to understand that, like, they need to figure out their man problems by themselves. Right.
Like, call one of your girlfriends, even to speaking, if the woman in that situation was like my friend, I'd be like, girl, like, call one of your female friends. Like, why is the only person that she has to call her male coworker? Like, obviously there's something going on. I don't know.
In this case, they weren't coworkers. They'd known each other for years. So this is like, they'd known each other from like grade school. And he's just the type of guy that would help people out. So I think, again, it's one of those things where I think he was just like
He thinks he's a good guy, yeah.
Yeah, generally good guy, and would like help people out who asked. Because it actually wasn't just that woman. It was like she was the most disrespectful at that middle of the night call. But there's other times where it was like,
can you not wait until morning? Jeez.
And he's the type of guy to go like help his homies to like, fix a flat or hope his friend's mom move, etc. So he's just that type of guy, like the neighborhood like handyman almost.
The neighborhood friendly man, yeah.
Yeah, like, and he's just a genuinely good dude, but like, yeah, I had to explain to him about certain boundaries that weren't okay. And then he seemed to understand, and that was the end of it.
That's fair, yeah. I mean, okay, I'm still reeling from that story because I'm sorry, that's like crazy to me, but
no, I agree. And I think it was like, well, that's the problem with male and female friendships, because again, if he gets another girlfriend, like, there's zero women who are going to be okay with that.
Yeah. Okay, so to be honest though, me and my current boyfriend had like, okay, we weren't that bad, but like we did have sort of like I think like the work husband, work wife thing, as long as you have strong boundaries in place and are not like, yeah, on personal time, that kind of stuff, and like not actually, I don't know, there's a certain thing as like what's the word I'm looking for? Emotional cheating, I guess. As long as you're avoiding kind of emotional cheating. So a work husband or a work wife, if one of you are currently in a relationship, obviously don't disrespect your partner, but I probably would still keep them in my orbit, at least in case, if one of us do break up with our partner, and like sometimes they can be a great future partner if the circumstances change, kind of thing. But again, it's important to keep it professional and not disrespect the person you're in a relationship with. So
that's what social media has kind of become for, because I got rid of all my social media, just like wanting to do a cleanse and purge of just people. There's just too many peripheral people that I wanted to get rid of, but not make it weird.
Yeah.
Because the thing, when you start muting people or like unfriending certain people, like then people take it personally. I'm like, in the off chance I run into this person, I don't want them to feel like personally offended. So I just deleted all my shit.
I don't want to be awkward. So I'm just going to delete my entire online digital presence.
I mean, yeah. And also I just don't like being that searchable, but
that's fair. Yeah.
I respect my own privacy, but basically it did cut off some of my like potentials and like old school sneaky links, right? Because a lot of those they were just men I'd become Facebook friends with or Instagram friends with over the years, who it's like, oh, we never quite hooked up or we never quite got together, either their relationship or I was in a relationship or something was going on where it never really happened. And so social media to me has almost been a place like it's either to keep up with family or old potential romantic interests if you want them to find you.
Yeah. I mean, I have social media, but I'm just like not super active on it. So it's like I like to have that option open, but not like super actively use social media,
Okay, so how can we vet for a male friend if we decide that we want to associate with the opposite sex in that way? So like, first and foremost, I would strongly recommend seeking out and prioritizing female friendships.
Yeah.
If you can find based women to be friends with, like, your life will just automatically level up, I swear. Like, women, especially based women, they understand just how to be, I guess, a good friend, and even deeper than friends sometimes. Like a lot of even my work colleagues, because I work for an all-female team, both on the podcast and in my personal life, professional life as well, it's so much easier to get a sense of almost sisterhood that you just can never get with men. Even if the guy is really high value, a friendship with a high value man will never be as good as a friendship with a high value woman, and I will die on this hill.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I will absolutely die on that hill.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think I value female friendships a lot more than male friendships. Again, like male and female friendships have a different purpose in my life. For women, it's about genuine mutual connection and bonding and like improving my quality of life. Men also, they should exist to improve my quality of life. I'm a lot more generous with women. I feel more comfortable being vulnerable with women. I feel like I can share more with women. I feel like I have more in common with women. I just love women. And with men, I'm just sort of sus about them. I'm just sort of skeptical of them.
Yeah, I feel like you always have to be on your guard with men. And this is why I also feel really sad when other women say, like, I just don't get on with other women. Because honestly, friendships with other women it's just so much better. And I'm obviously good, like non-toxic, because I appreciate there are some women out there that can also be very toxic. But if you find base, like high value crew of women, it is just so, so good.
I find it so funny. This question started from like a male subscriber and we're like talking to women being like, friendships with women are way better than...
I'm just being honest. Like...
Yeah, to our male audience, it's possible, but here's all these ethical guidelines. To our female audience, prioritize relationships with other women always. And the man has to be high value and add to your life and not violate your boundaries. And even then, even if he's the greatest guy in the world, again, like even my own literal boyfriend is not in my inner circle. Even with my own boyfriend, I still have certain boundaries in place, you know?
I think women too are more socialized to like emotionally give and even like physically give or socially give without expectation of return, right?
Yes.
Or thinking it means something more than it does. Because I've had platonic male, hold on, go sit down, puppy, please.
The only male friend in your relationship should be your dog. Okay.
No, my dog's very conditional. So yeah, no, but so one of the things like I like to just, do really nice things for people in general. So I tried to bring a guy a birthday cake, right? Who I thought, and I've done this to multiple guys, both guys I was dating and then guys I was friendship. And like, it was weird, right? For them, because it was like, well, why did you get me a cake? And I was like, cause it's your birthday. And I thought it'd be a nice thing to do.
And he thinks it means more than that.
Either he thinks it means more than that, or they're like, yeah, or they start getting an ego about it because they think like, oh, she's really into me because I got him a cake. And I was like, no, I just, why not? It's your birthday. I got you something nice. Or they're like immediately suspicious or something because they're not used to, because male friendships, they don't do nice shit for each other.
That's so true.
It's always like blown up in my face when I try to treat my male friends like my female friends. So yeah. I just vastly lowered the amount of effort I put into my male friendships. So like on their birthday, I might buy them a drink.
Yeah. Or go out for dinner or something as a group.
With my female friendships, that's when you get the cake and like the party favors and like the party games.
Spend 2 weeks planning their birthday. That's like a surprise that you don't even tell them about, but you and your other friends get together and I don't know, go to Vegas or something.
Exactly.
Like that's what I mean about like, I put so much more effort into my female friendships than male friendships. I think with male friendships, the effort should go from man to woman. With female friendships, the effort is mutual.
Men don't really invest in each other like that, I've learned, for the most part. Most of the time you see guys do birthday things, it's like, oh, boys trip to some Vegas. It's something that makes them like, something that's like beneficial to all of them. And sometimes even more beneficial for the party thrower because they're the ones like, oh, let's throw a bachelor party and go to the strip club. But it's really for them. Like men are more likely to do shit like that, where they pressure their friends into doing things that are more like a little bit more selfish. But yeah, every time I've tried to just do what I thought was like a selfless friend thing for a man, it's like always become an issue. Like it's always made things weird, and I couldn't really explain it at the time. But again, I think it's either they read more into it and thought I was more into them than I actually was, and I was like, no, I just got you, like got you something because it's your birthday. It wasn't like I'm not trying to slob your knob now or whatever. Or they felt obligated to like care more than they wanted to because they're not used to people giving them nice things because men don't do that shit for each other, right? So now they're like, well, I didn't get you anything. And I'm like, all right, then never mind, Yeah,
like I expect my male friends to remember my birthday, and I might remember their birthday, but like Yeah, I won't get them like a gift or make them a cake. We'll like go out as a group to, I don't know, a restaurant or something, like, or buy each other drinks. You know, it's more, I don't know. Straight up, just ladies, invest more in your female friendships than your male friendships. Like,
yeah, you can invest more in your female friendships without it making it weird, but your male friendships, like, it just fucks it up for some reason.
So back to vetting as well. So,
oh yeah, we got off track a bit.
If you are in the market for a male friend, he has to treat and speak of other women well, and this is absolutely non-negotiable. I don't care if he is funding your lifestyle, if he's bought you a Ferrari, if there is any whiff of scroty behavior, you cut him off. Like, that is, if he's, you know, yeah, that's what I'm going to say on that. Like, he has to treat the women he's with, and other women generally very, very well. Otherwise, he's low value.
I want to say also, this is not related to vetting, but like, understand, for women, social contagion is a very real thing. It's important to surround yourself with high value people, men and women. And if you're around like a shitty man or woman, it's going to affect you.
Yeah.
Consciously or unconsciously, in a way, like, it's almost hard to control, right? It's like a sort of mental diet. You know how like you're affected by the food you eat? You're also kind of affected by like the media you consume, the people you spend time with, and so on. So it's important to spend time with high value men and women, and they'll influence you in a positive way. If a man is like is shitty to women, or it's just low vibrational, or just you don't vibe well, or he's just shitty, like, don't spend any time with him at all. Not even as like a manual labor person. Like, he has to, even the manual labor guys have to be like actually decent people. Like,
yeah. Definitely. Also be aware of the relationship being non-reciprocal. So just because a man is not sexually interested in you, because I know this episode is focused heavily on sexual and romantic interests, but just because he isn't interested in you romantically or sexually, that doesn't mean he's not using you. Like, he could still be using you as a therapist, as an Uber driver, as a mommy no bang maid. Like, you need to make sure that if you are gonna, you know, again, if we make the argument that generally interacting with men can bring diminishing returns in many cases for women, because men aren't really, you know, raised to be equitable partners, talk less of good friends, even to each other, then you need to especially watch out for and avoid entering into a non-reciprocal friendship with a man, because it's very easy to sleepwalk into doing that, especially if you think, oh, he's gay, oh, he's not attracted to me, I'm not attracted to him. That doesn't mean that he's not using you.
Yeah, a lot of men actually specifically keep around women. Here's the fucked up thing, is like, there are men out there who will keep around women that they're not attracted to at all, but will still have sex with them just so that they can have convenient pussy. Or if they won't even stoop to that level, they'll keep women around that they're not attracted to, that they know where she's into him, and like will use as free therapist, as an ego boost, as for whatever fucking purposes, right? Because some men are just shitty like that and will just use you for whatever you can. Or whatever they can get from you. So yeah, be aware of any relationship where he's not adding value to your life, whether it's platonic or romantic relationship.
And I would also say as well, brace yourself for him making a move when you're available as well. Like, I still, in my experience and the experience of my friends and countless women on the subreddit, if a guy is your friend, there is a high possibility that he sees you as a potential opportunity. So brace yourself for that as well, because a lot of women feel very blindsided when it happens. And it's about understanding that men don't process, I guess, friendships the same way we do. They don't conceptualize it the same way we do. They see nothing wrong with, you know, seeing your friend as a sexual opportunity, whereas women don't always think the same way. So just prepare yourself for that.
Understand, ladies, like, if you have a male friend, even if you're not attracted to him, or even if you think he's not attracted to you, or, oh, he's not like that, no, he actually likes me, oh, we're just friends, like, no, even in that case.
Well, we've been friends for decades, like,
oh, I see him as little brother.
People underestimate how long men will wait for pussy.
Yeah.
They underestimate how long they'll scavenge for pussy. Like, they're literally like fucking, you know, vultures, like circling the desert looking for carcasses.
Yeah, and that's why, I don't know, I'm not taken aback from men. Like, I just expect, like, that's just how men be, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah, same. I just accept it.
Yeah, like, so the women who are like taken aback, like, oh, me? Like, I mean, sometimes. I mean, not gonna lie, sometimes I will act like that to the man to put him on the back foot, or to, like, you know, to Sometimes I do the whole routine where I act like an innocent flower, like, what? I had no idea, kind of thing. But for the women that actually... the dumb fox thing, yeah. But for the women who actually believe that, who are actually like, what? I had no idea. Like, come on, sis.
Some women are so rich because I've seen multiple, like, okay, so another reason I got rid of my social media, like, messy drama on Instagram and on Facebook, because they'll be like all hugged up in pictures and be like, this is my best friend and we've been friends for this long time, and he's like got his arms wrapped all the way around her, like it looks really, really romantic,
around her waist or something, like
yeah, this like warm, loving embrace. And I'm like, okay, like y'all just trying to get everyone riled up in the comments and start shit with everyone else's significant others. So a lot of women do that and they're full of shit. Like, and I'm like, you know that man wants to hit, right? Yeah. Like you're just like
put him out of his misery.
You're just trying to
be. I'm kidding.
Right, exactly. No, and a lot of those women are so manipulative, and this is why I can't be friends with some of them too. And like, not a knock on you, Lilith, but like the ones that try to like,
thanks.
No, but like, here's the difference. Like, there's women. Because those women will try to do that with your man, right? Like, and then they know are in relationships, and then be like, oh, let's take a picture together for Instagram, and like has their hand like right above their stomach or on their crotch and shit. Those women are not your friend. They're basically like the Shayna types.
Yeah.
Like Shayna from like the ones that are your frenemies that are like pretending. Like, I just have so many guy friends, but it's really like their quote unquote friends, boyfriends, that they're just like all over and pretending that like they don't know that these guys would fuck them if they could. Like, yeah, fuck those chicks.
Yeah, see, they're coming from a place of like pick-meism. I'm coming from a place of like, men ain't shit and they exist to serve women, and I'm always going to put the woman first. Like, I would never...
Very different energy. Yeah.
Never mess with another woman's man. In fact, if a woman's man tried to mess with me, I would immediately snitch on him, always on the woman's side on every situation. That's just how I be. But again, not all women are female oriented like that.
Yeah, I had to purge my feed of like, I don't know why so many women don't like me. And then here's a bunch of my platonic male friends that I'm practically slobbing down in these pictures.
Oh.
And there's lots of women that love doing that and then being like, I have all these male friends, like, and I just don't get why women don't like me. You know, look at all the haters in my comments, right? Like, it just got to the point where I was like, yeah, it's time to start forehead pushing these people out of my mental space. because that's what I meant. I felt like half my social media was drama. Like, so then I was like, half of it was like political ranting, and then the other half was like drama, and I was like,
half anti-vaccine.
Yeah.
The other half was like, why do all these women hate me? Oh my god. Yeah.
And I was like, I think I'm done. Or at least I'm gonna restart my social media with a brand new like group of people.
No, go back to like the olden days where you just met people in real life or just stayed in touch with people by texting or phone. Like, just, I don't know. Like, cause I feel like social media is like mostly people I don't really care about much. It's like once you're in someone's like DMs or messages, that's like, that means something different. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Oh yeah, and men who had girlfriends and wives in my DMs too. That was the other thing that motivated me.
Oh,
I already have trust issues, but this is just...
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I expect that men will try to be shady, and I'm just like, instead of being like angry or offended by that, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna fucking outsmart them. Or, you know, once you know how the system is played, you can start to play the game to your advantage. Okay, so that's why, again, speaking to my female audience only, like, I don't think there's anything wrong with exploiting a man's like sex drive or horniness for you, as long as you keep him at an arm's length and only keep him around if he's adding value to your life. I don't see anything wrong with that. But yeah, not all women want to deal with that though, and I respect that too.
He should also respect your relationship. I was talking about this with like one of my best friends, cause she's got like probably like 8 or 9 orbiters like the fucking sun. And she was saying how she couldn't, think she doesn't maximize it though. Like, I was trying to tell her like your strategy, but she's slowly getting it. But yeah. Anyway, she was like, I can't go to my male friends for relationship advice cause the pussy scavengers will deliberately like poison her against her partner.
Yep. Beware of some of your man's friends too, because I've seen that too, where like sometimes they have hater ass friends who are pussy scavengers. This is why you can't have pussy scavengers around men. Like, they're the worst type of guys.
You know the movie Love Actually? Have you seen that?
I haven't seen it.
Okay. It's got Keira Knightley, and I won't spoil it, but yeah, there's like Keira Knightley, a love triangle where, yeah, she's married to a man and his best friend is in love with her. And I won't spoil the ending, but yeah, like that
pussy scavenger. Yeah.
The friend in that situation is a pussy scavenger, okay? Like Love Actually is a movie about a pussy scavenging love triangle. Boom, I said it. I love the movie, but that's what it's about.
Like, you gotta be careful of that kind of thing. And also, again, if the guy isn't high value, he probably has friends that are creeps too. Right? Like there's guys that they're pick-me's. Like they'll go behind their friend's back and try to get at you too. So that's why it's like, it's so important, even if you have a boyfriend or you have platonic friends, like you really got to vet for the people with poor boundaries who are there to start shit.
And yeah, you just have to treat them on the same terms as a guy you're vetting, for a relationship, have super strong boundaries. Don't be afraid to cut him off at the sign of, red flags.
Don't overshare.
It's the same principle if you're vetting for a relationship, in my view, because
like limit how much information you give him.
Yeah. You don't lower your boundary just thinking, oh, he's just a friend, like it's fine. No.
Keep that guard up at all times, sis.
Because when we say that low value men shouldn't be rewarded with female company, we don't just mean in relationships, we mean generally in life as well. Like they shouldn't be rewarded with female friendships either, or acquaintanceship. I think even an acquaintanceship like with a woman is a privilege.
Yeah. And to wrap it up with the question that we got at the beginning, can men and women be friends? Can I shoot my shot? That kind of thing. I would say first and foremost, look at yourself as well and make sure that you're a high value person before shooting your shot. Have some self-awareness. Yeah, read the room. But also in the meantime, just as we tell women, level up before you pursue a relationship, I also strongly advise men to do that. You will increase the likelihood of turning a friendship into a relationship if you work on yourself and focus on becoming a high value man as well. Be honest with yourself about your flaws and what are the things about yourself that might not be attractive. It's not just about looks, like personality and like behavior, and just like, get some fucking hobbies and shit that isn't like gaming and porn, right? Like just don't be a scrote and you'll significantly increase your chances, both like having a quality friendship as well as like a possible relationship. Either way.
And here endeth the lessons.
Thank you, Savannah.
That's our show. Check us out on Patreon for weekly bonus content.
If you're a man listening to this, sign up for the Scrote Strike Back tier and submit some debate questions for Ro to destroy you over.
Yeah, I'm really interested in doing that. Keeps me up, keeps me excited.
Even if you're a male fan, just like for Ro's personal entertainment, like do us a solid, give us something meaty to just throw some, offer up a male roast to scrote of a man you hate that you want us to drag. I don't know, anything.
Yeah, we'll do it. So I hope we answered the question appropriately for the guy. I hope you got something out of it and enjoying our Scrote Strike Back tier. But yeah, so check that out on Patreon, patreon.com/the female dating strategy, as well as our Twitter @femdatstrat and our Instagram @_the female dating strategy, and our website, which we're still working on.
It's getting better.
TBD. It's gonna, we're getting there. We might relaunch soon. So, thefemaledatingstrategy.com. Thanks for listening, queens. And for all you scrotes out there, stop being pussy scavengers. Die mad.